This is Hiring on All Cylinders, live from HR Tech. Hello again, HR Tech. Once more, Hiring on All Cylinders is hurtling through space and time to fill your ears with the sweet, sweet sounds of HR and recruiting advice. I am thrilled right now to be joined by the CEO of HiQ Labs, Darren Kaplan. Darren, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me.
So, congratulations. Your company just won HR Product of the Year.
Yeah, we're thrilled and delighted to be recognized by the HR tech community for the great work that we're doing. HiQ Labs is the global standard for people analytics. We've built some very intricate predictive models that help companies understand turnover. We do that using external data, and we absolutely complement their systems. So whether you're using Workday or SAP, Connexa, we sit right on top of those, and we help the people analytics teams understand who's at risk, and they can take actions to save them.
So did you win for the overall platform? Is there a specific product you've just launched that won the award?
It's a great question. The award was given for our platform, and right now the use case for that platform is turnover modeling.
Okay. So then what are the challenges that companies experience that your solution can help them with?
Yeah, I think right now one of the big trends that we are seeing in the space is the need to go predictive and understanding talent engagement. And it's a nice and balanced to understand engagement and risk.
Yes.
And we sat right in the middle of that to help companies understand who's at risk and then help build what we're calling hyper-personal actions to help retain that talent.
So can you give a few examples of those hyper-personal actions?
Yeah. So hyper-personalized actions means taking the right action at the right moment. And I think that's where the predictive comes in. So on some of those actions can be stay interviews, but having them at the right time where you're just guiding employees and really asking very curious questions on what's going on, how they like the work. Other options and other things that we're seeing do not have to be about compensation. So we're trying to get away from just pay to retain. So you look at different work flex lifestyle, where if you look at someone's commute and their scheduling, that can also be a driver to retain someone. Looking at the work that they're doing, looking at the team they're on, how to do internal mobility, but all this starts with just understanding risk. And we're just delighted that more and more people analytic teams are being formed. They're very eager to see data, consume data, and then build better models to predict what's going to happen, whether it be recruiting, whether it be retention, diversity. I mean, you pick it. That's what we're seeing.
So then does HiQ, it helps identify who these people are, and then after that, is it kind of up to the team to pull that person in a room and have an honest conversation, or is there further help that your tool can provide?
So the first thing that we'll do is we'll identify team and individual. Some of our customers then build their own actions. Some of the customers ask us to help them with those actions. So we have our own people analytics team that can come in and help these companies consult. So I think with us, we deal with mostly Fortune 100, Fortune 500. So again, it varies. Some of those customers have pretty impressive teams that can take those actions. It's just, where do you start?
Right.
That's what we're trying to solve.
So you're able to be prescriptive in some way. You can say, hey, here's some action you can take, but then you allow some customization. Are there any examples of those sort of custom rules that you've seen people, or custom actions you've seen your customers enact that were really surprising or exciting?
I think one of the things that we've seen that was been very interesting is HR has been using internal data and survey data and keying in on, this person in their survey said they're going to be here in a year.
Right.
They're happy here. I think the biggest thing that we're seeing with external data is that employee is generally honest that they're going to be there, but because of external footprints, they're just being recruited out. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're seeing is just bending that behavior, that just because someone did something in a survey, that doesn't mean it's gonna happen.
It's not like a living, continual
Right.
like measure of their.
It's like
of their
they said
feelings,
they're
right?
going to be here.
Yeah,
I
8
have
months
it
ago,
on their
yeah.
survey.
Exactly.
What? You mean Google just called into our organization and took our engineer, but their survey said
Right.
they're going to be here. So I think the biggest thing that we're seeing is these teams start looking at all of the assets that they have and start thinking differently about talent. And now once that thinking is starting to happen, now we're starting to see the programs come into place. So super exciting time about that. I hope I'm answering all your questions.
No,
the
you
right
absolutely
way.
are. This is great. So
He's giving me like a stare.
Oh no, I'm sorry. There's a lot of things going through my head right now.
No, just keep asking. This is great.
I'm curious.
And the space, I mean, it's great to be at HR Tech. We're seeing a lot of great products. You know, it's I love going to HR Tech and starting with the smaller booths.
Yep.
And I can really get a good pulse of some of the new technologies. And then I end with the bigger booths of the ADPs, the IBMs, these big islands. But I got to see some really interesting things with artificial intelligence. It was really interesting to see how people are starting to really mine text and think through the data. And we're seeing a lot of companies here, similar to ourselves, that are now doing some great work on top of the bigger systems. So we're delighted to see that, and we hope that continues into next year.
A lot of people are pointing to the AI piece. It seems to be everywhere.
Sounds sexy.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any just like examples, maybe from some of the younger companies? I don't know if they have the resources to pull that off, but what are people doing with this exactly?
In the conversations that we've seen with our customers, they're looking at it for recruiter efficiency, where recruiters are being asked to do more with less. So they're trying to put that in, the recruiter pipeline of how can we use some of this machine learning to better select. And we're seeing that. And there's a couple of vendors here that are doing that. I think it's an interesting problem. I think there's a lot of places for it. But again, the first place we're seeing it for is just, it seems like everything starts with solving a recruiting problem. I think one of the things about HiQ, when we started our company, and a shameless plug, as the HR Tech Award winner,
right?
We looked at the world as there's applicants and there are employees, and we want to solve the employee happiness problem. We think there's a lot of vendors out here that do very great work with recruiting. I think when you start focusing us on employees, then we would use a lot of that AI differently, because I think there is some internal mobility solutions that we could do pretty well that employees would actually benefit from.
I love it. Darren, congrats on winning HR Product of the Year. It's huge.
Yeah, and come to our website, HiQ Labs, HiQLabs.com. And we're always so proud of the work that Entelo's doing, and just great leadership with what you guys are thinking about. And thanks for having us today.
Absolutely. It was a blast. Thanks for coming by, Darren.